Alright guys, welcome back. It's still really cold out, but we're going to do a quick video for you. You know, I did the PSA Guardsman lower receiver the other day, and I talked about how it came with a nice Magpul furniture, had an upgraded flat blade trigger that PSA put together. It was pretty nice for a mil-spec type trigger, but me being kind of a trigger snob, you know, I thought, well, let's upgrade the trigger and see what else. You know, it did have an ambi safety. I switched it to 45 degree. It was able to do that by a little swap. Just like many other ambi safeties, it did a little swap and it made it a 45 instead of a 90 degree safety, which was nice. But I still wasn't super happy with the trigger. So, you know, I usually go with Timmy, the DH3, and then they discontinued that and they do their Pro trigger. But another manufacturer came onto the radar. Ballistic Engineering. I picked up a couple of those triggers just to see how they would work. The first one I got was the GOAT, and you see it's not in the box. It's because it's right here. It's a two-stage trigger, very close to the DH3, and I wanted to see how it compared. You know, they got a nice 3-gun guy in here in the back, and if you didn't know, these triggers are made in Arizona. That's the town or the state I moved from, which I have my heart set on people made in the USA, Arizona company. So I picked up 2 of their triggers. I got the GOAT, which is a 2-stage competition trigger, and then I got their AR Accurized Pro trigger. This one I think I'm going to throw in one of my other guns, but I want to tell you what I found out about this 2-stage trigger. You know, when I compare it to the Timney triggers, the build quality on both of them are really good. Everything seems well. It is a cassette type trigger. It drops right in. Make sure you use those little screws that go down into the bottom receiver so you don't have to put captured pins. That locks that in, takes all that slop out to make sure it's installed correctly so those pins don't walk out. The fit and finish is beautiful. The machining quality is through the roof. Everything looks phenomenal. But what really blew me away when I think about the DH3 and the AR comp, you know, the Timney 2-stage comp trigger, there was a couple things on there that I felt like this one might be one step up. I love the flat blade trigger, and they did something a little different here, put a little knob on the bottom, and I love to index on that so I know I have my finger in the same spot every time. It's beautiful. I'm going to bring you in close and show you this trigger pull, but that first stage, it's a matter of ounces, which I love. You know, the Timney trigger is about 4 to 6 ounces, I think, on the first stage, and then probably just less than a pound on that second stage, so they're very crisp. This one is unloaded. We'll just do a quick pull, but that first stage, it's very light. We're probably an ounce or 2. It takes up, and then, man, it's right there to the wall. Once we get to that wall, when we reset this, you'll notice the reset, very tactile and very short, and then right back on that pull. Man, if you want a DMR trigger, a precision rifle trigger, this might be the way to go. This one, the Timney does well, but this is the one I'm going to go from now on. It's called Ballistic Engineering, and they really did some good engineering here, and I can't wait to see what they come out with next. But this trigger for a DMR or a precision build, I think might be the way to go. I'm going to pull you in close. We'll do a couple simulated trigger pulls so you can really see what that pull's about. And all right, if we simulate that trigger pull, we're going to go ahead and charge it real quick. That first stage, super light, very little take up, and then it's a crisp break. We pull that first stage up or take up that slop and then pull that trigger. You see how short of a reset it is. Very short reset or take up and a nice solid wall. When we release that trigger, you'll hear it. It releases right there, and then we're right back on the wall. Man, I think about a performance trigger or a DMR trigger. We're talking about an SPR DMR precision trigger. You know, have a nice safety on it. Make sure you run it on safe. Drop that safe off, and when you on target, breathe in. And as you breathe in, you're going to take that first stage up, and as you breathe out, you know, you get the bottom of that breath. Just squeeze through that trigger. You'll notice how light and little bit of take up that is. We reset it, and then the take up is nothing. You know, that reset is so short, but it's crisp and tactile, so you know you're on the wall one more time, and then take that second shot. If we think about DMR applications, anything like that, this trigger would be a gold mine. Really good. All right, guys, final thoughts on this Ballistic Engineering trigger. I think it's great. You know, I've ran Trigger Tech triggers, Timney triggers. I've used a ton of different triggers out there. Bix and Andy in my bolt guns. I've used all kinds of triggers. What I haven't done is run Geisley triggers. I I think they're great triggers. I know the LaRue triggers are all right. These cassette triggers are so easy to maintain, so easy to install. I'm going to stick with cassettes. This particular build, if you want to talk about it, we did put that guardsman lower, that PSA guardsman. It had the upgraded Magpul furniture. I love it. It does have that ambi safety, which is awesome, but I thought the trigger needed to be upgraded. So we went ahead and did that Ballistic Engineering trigger, that 2-stage trigger. I think this is going to be a perfect DMR. You see I got a Arca rail on the bottom. That's an MDT Arca rail on this build. It's a 13.9-inch Roscoe 416 stainless barrel. We have the Geisley handguard. We're running that OSS 762 QD can. I know it's an old school can, but the stainless can will take a lot of abuse, and it works great on these guns. It helps balance them out when we get on barricades or anything like that if we're running and going fast. You know, I do have a titanium can I can throw on it, but this is my go-to can on this rifle. We just have a 1-to-8 Crimson Trace. This is one of the Japan glass Crimson Trace. I know they only had these for a little bit of time. It was kind of a Gucci or expensive piece of glass for Crimson Trace. I know everybody thinks they just build cheap Chinese glass, but this was actually made in Japan. Really good glass. The reticle is no good at all. I wouldn't recommend buying one of these, mainly because the reticle's horrible, but 1-to-8 with really clear glass, it's pretty nice. And it is dialable once you pull that cap off. You know, with that Roscoe barrel, Roscoe bolt carrier group, this is a sweet little short precision rifle. You know, we think about a 13.9 pen and welded, and then that collapsible Magpul stock with a nice bag rider on it. It's a great little setup for getting on something quick, you know, if you're quantified performance, if you're hunting with it, or if you're just running and gunning, you know, a gas gun acronized match. But let me know what you guys think about Ballistic Engineering triggers. Man, this one is a rock star. I'm gonna get some rounds down it. I'll get some video of that, and I'll give you some more feedback. But as of right now, it's probably my favorite 2-stage AR-15 trigger. Like I said, I did get the Accurized Pro AR trigger, and I think it's adjustable down to 1.5 pounds. The 2-stage is probably less than that, about 1 pound on that second stage. But 1.5 pounds, I'm probably going to run this one about 2 pounds and put it on the night gun. You know, I have that short night gun. I don't know. Let me know. Maybe we throw it on 300 Blackout. Maybe we should throw it on the 13.9, the one with the IR laser. Let me know in the comments what you think. Maybe we'll put it in either one. The 300 Blackout with that LMT upper. Maybe that would be nice with this trigger. It's just got a mil-spec trigger in it right now also. But thanks a lot for watching this video, and stay tuned for more. Whether it's Accurized AR-15s, bolt guns. We're working on that Coyote 22 ARC build, and there's more to come. Hit subscribe. Thank you so much for all your watches and all your time invested in this, and we'll see you next time.